Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have Haleigh Overseth here with me. Hi,
Hi there,
Haleigh.
folks.
How are you?
It's so excited to be here in the Dragon's Den again.
Oh, yes, that's right. Rawr, right?
Rawr.
Rawr.
Or are we going to get a little silly with it? Let's please do. You know, that makes me happy.
I know. I just figure I'll throw you a little one, and then we get serious. No.
Now we get
So
serious. Get serious with Betsy, and then we're going to get silly sauce with Betsy.
we have a fantastic guest. Betsy Whitfill, how are you?
I'm well.
Very good, very good. And you have had a very interesting life, very interesting experiences. And please share with our audience all about you, how you came to be where you are now.
Well, I started out like most people, just going to school and then getting married and having children. And about 1980, I had a serious health issue and had to have emergency surgery. And it was, I think, on New Year's Eve. There was an ice storm. The lights were out except for the little generator in the hospital. And I said to God, get me out of here. I'll do anything. Anything
I
you
love
ask.
it already.
And so, I recovered and whatnot. And
Right.
I I never thought about it again. And I was carpooling, and back in the early 80s was when everyone was starting with New Age books. And so between carpools, I would hang out at the local bookstore in the New Age section.
I love it. This sounds like the great start to like a movie already. So we've got you in a crunchy bookstore, right? Like, I'm for it.
And I was walking down the aisle of this New Age section, looking at books. And this little red book kind of popped out of the shelf. And the title I picked it up because I thought, well, this is interesting. And I was open to anything.
Right.
And I picked it up, and the title was The Reappearance of the Christ and the Masters of Wisdom in the New Age section, which I thought was very interesting. I had studied philosophy in college, and I had read all the Thomas Aquinas and all the philosophers. And so I had an interest in what this could possibly be. So I brought it home and started reading it. And as I was reading it, I was also keeping a dream journal, which we were doing back then. Also.
Yes. We were.
Gotta do your dream journaling, people. The universe speaks to you through your dreams. Keep track.
It's true. It's true. And one night I woke up and I had a dream as I was reading this book about the reappearance of the Christ. And the Christ was by name Maitreya. And I was fascinated. It was totally off the track of anything I had read before. Certainly not anything like my early religious training, which was Catholic. And so I began to have this feeling of pregnancy, I guess is all I can say. It was a whole body fullness that I was having. And then I had this dream. And in the dream, a tall man with a robe came to me and said, would you do the heart-to-heart for your village? And I don't really remember what I said, but I probably said, sure, happy to help. And I woke up and remembered so clearly that image. So I wrote it down in my dream journal. And as I was continuing to have this feeling of fullness, I decided that I would go out and see a lecture by the author of this book, whose name was Benjamin Crumb. because I was so taken by the answers to questions that he had given, which were very similar to questions about God and Jesus that I had had. I would sit in the back of the church and say, "What do you mean by such and such?"
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was fascinating. So I thought, I want to hear more about this man, Maitreya. So I had two young boys, and my husband was so busy with work. And at dinner, I announced that I was going to California to hear a lecture by Benjamin Creme. This was about the time that the Beatles were going to India. My poor husband.
Very interesting.
My poor husband he stood up and he said, "But what about the children?" And I said, "Well, it's only a weekend, I'll be back."
Right.
But the poor man, I should have prepared him a little bit better, probably.
Well, I was going to say the difference in sort of like generation, right? The things that were expected at the time of you as the sort of female of the family, right? The matriarch of the family, and the way that things are a little bit different now, right? So
yes, they have changed.
That's
yeah, but he softened, and my sister was living in LA at the time. And so I called her and we agreed that I would fly to LA and we would drive up to Cold Canyon, I think it is, for this lecture by Benjamin Creme. And we went into this lovely little church that was called St. Michael's by the Sea. And the place was packed.
I love that.
Yeah,
nice
it was
name.
lovely. Yeah, it was packed with people. We didn't know what to expect. So we sat there about in the middle of all the seating. Then very quietly, there was no music, no razzle dazzle, nothing. And Benjamin Creme walked up the aisle. He got up onto the dais and sat in a chair there and proceeded to go eye to eye to all the people in the audience. There was no sound, nothing. So we went eye to eye, starting at the front. And when he came to our row and he came to me, I don't know what happened, but the whole front of the church lit up with this gorgeous light. And there was the face of the man in my dream. Wow. And it was eye contact that was so moving that when I kind of came to, I don't know how long I'd been staring at it, but when I came to, my cheeks were hurting because I was smiling so hard, but I was crying at the same time. It was, I had never had a experience of such overwhelming love. I guess it sounds corny, but that's what it was.
Well, I mean, those experiences, they might sound corny, but I tell you, isn't that what everyone's looking for? That big aha, overwhelming sensation of like, okay, I get it now. Here's the ready to move forward with whatever this is.
You're absolutely right. That's what happened. And so I was getting embarrassed. It seemed to be going on a long time. So all I did was think, well, maybe you could go on to other people. And as soon as I did that, the face nodded and it ended, and he went down the line to other people. Benjamin Creme did. And so I didn't know what to do with that information that I had received. So I met Creme at a meditation the next evening and told him my story, and he didn't say too much because there's no pressure in all of this. It's whatever you want to do. So then I came home and I decided that I would invite him to my town to give some talks and do it again,
Right.
for other people. And so that was the beginning in 1985. That was the beginning of this long association as a volunteer for Share International. And Share International is made up with people who respond to Maitreya's mission, to the priorities. His priority is that we must all learn to live together in peace. It's really not anything that anyone hasn't heard before, but his emphasis is such that you realize that we're running out of time playing the games that we play. So I brought I had a meditation group, and we brought Mr. Krem here, and I think it was 3 or 4 times he came to Dallas and talked. And since then, he's gone all over the world telling this story. And the story that he tells is his own experience with one of the masters of wisdom. So this whole information is based on something called the Ageless Wisdom Teachings. It's a philosophy and a science that underscores all the traditions, whether they're religious or non-religious. It doesn't matter at all. It's a philosophical groundwork for, it's not quite metaphysics because it's very dynamic.
Right.
So we have what we have, and this is what's really interesting. What we have is a group of great beings who oversee the evolution of humanity. We've never been alone on this planet.
It's very true.
They are the inspirers of music, the discoveries of science, the inspiration in art, the inspiration in economics, politics, in all of those fields in which people feel they can work together. This is the whole point of their teaching. So these are a group of highly evolved men, but they are also examples to the rest of us because they come out of the human evolution, just like we are spiritually evolving.
Right.
And so there is reincarnation and the law of karma involved in this. And, you know, we talk a lot about justice today, and in so many cases, it seems that justice doesn't really apply. You know, it's only the law, and if you can get away with something, that's fine. But the law of karma is in play no matter what. And so to me, it's a wonderful educational program that we're working on here. And so through rebirth, reincarnation, you have plenty of time to learn your lessons and to become spiritually advanced, fully aware of not only the physical plane, but all of the planes of consciousness. And so the expansion of consciousness grows until you can reach the same place as the masters that you read about. And you can become a master, not of anyone else, but you're a master of your own energies, your own way of being. So these are the masters of wisdom, and they are experts because they've lived long times in all the fields of human endeavor. So for me, it's very reassuring that they are on the case. They can never infringe on human free will because then we won't learn our lessons. So that's sacrosanct. They cannot. But they are very loving and very supportive, always hopeful, and can heal when called upon. People might call them angels, I suppose. And so that's a beautiful thing in my book. At their head is the teacher, the world teacher Maitreya. Now he is the Buddhists await Maitreya as Maitreya Buddha. The Christians await the Christ, second coming of Christ.
Right.
The Jews, the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Krishna,
Mm.
and all of the traditions have an expectation of a teacher to come and teach the karma or the dharma, and all of their traditions
Right.
bring them forward into the present time. And so they are here coming into the world now,
Mm-hmm.
to physically coming into the world now to teach humanity how to take the next step in our spiritual evolution. In the process, we will end war. We will rebuild our cities using technologies that we can only dream of now.
Exactly.
There will be peace, and we will enjoy the gift of life as we never have before.
Mm.
So at their
That
head,
sounds like the best Christmas message you could possibly put out there. Enjoy the gift of life better than we ever have before.
yes.
Oh, I'm here for it. Let's turn this human ride into the amusement park that it was supposed to be and start playing together the way we were meant to, y'all. I'm ready for it.
Well, that's what Maitreya says. He says, you know, in order to evolve spiritually, it's very simple. All you have to do is be honest, honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detached.
Yes.
Detachment means you are not attached to what happens. You don't worry and force things to happen. You realize there's more to life than things or people even.
Exactly.
You flow through your life, and therefore you can enjoy it. You know, remember the old song, "Don't Worry, Be Happy"?
Yep.
Well,
That's it.
that's
Well,
the
and
game.
you said Maitreya is the name means the happy one.
Yes.
Don't worry, be happy. The happy
Yeah.
one. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yes, and he is here to teach all of humanity. He has created a blueprint for what he says is the essential path forward if we are to survive on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the blueprint for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he says when you share, it's like a family, the human family. When someone brings food into the house, everybody shares in the food. Well, the planet is replete with tons of food. It's such a wonderful planet, and yet we have no sharing going on. We have
Mm-hmm.
competition, and we have people who are dying of starvation, who have no hope at all. And Maitreya said this causes him such shame. That's why he has come back so early, physically on his own,
Right.
not working through a disciple as they
Right.
usually do.
Exactly.
So this is where we are.
Now, Maitreya has put in my path the Councils of Light, which is who I channel a lot. I mean, I channel a lot of beings, but those are the ones I channel. And my mission was to get on camera and stream as I am channeling the messages, which are usually coordinates to take us somewhere so we can try to remember, we can try to awaken those memories and awaken that knowledge that we have within us. He did come the very first time that I started doing the councils of light. But I was told by him, you keep me quiet and you'll know when it's the right time to say it. So I figured this is the right time to say it.
Good for you.
I love it.
And it was at first I was like, I'm like super honored that somebody so enlightened and so well versed and just that, like you said, that overwhelming love.
Yeah.
It was like any worry I had, I wasn't even here. I was just like floating, like no weight, no, I couldn't even think of anything that was going wrong. I couldn't think of anything. It was just like, okay,
The most
and
blissful
where am
state
I?
of
All right.
being.
Yes,
I
Blessed,
exactly.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, blissed out is
Yeah.
how we all want to be, in that very sort of deep, profound kind of way. I love this. I'm so ladies, listen, I'm just so excited about all of the wonderful things that are to come just in this energy. And I love that you both have had this little sort of channel meeting with Maitreya. I think that is so very cool and so very fun. Glenda, I mean,
Well,
go ahead, but like, talk to me more about the messages here, the big love messages, the love bubbles that we're sending out to humanity.
Well, when Maitreya first came, he in 1977 he took a plane into London from the Himalayas. He has a physical body that is called a Maya Varupa. It's a body of light that he can go anywhere, appear even two places at once. He came into London and was living in the immigrant section, the Muslim section of London. And that was when Benjamin Crumb was asked to simply tell the world that Maitreya is here. Physically, he has returned, physically himself. And that was Crumb's simple task, simple. And his
No pressure, no biggie, just, you know.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's okay.
Little task that we have for you, like no big thing.
Yeah. So, so that started in Maitreya's center was in London and still is in London. Although he's everywhere, and he's actually in your heart,
right.
Because he embodies the love aspect of God, which he pours out over the world every day. And as he said, I don't want you to follow me. I'm not creating a religion. I want you to experience me. And when you've researched and had experiences like that, you can have that feeling anytime you think of the name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really quite comforting, quite nice.
It reminds me of the times that I was declared dead, where I felt that same unconditional love and
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming sensation. Like it's extremely hard to explain that to someone.
Well, Maitreya says, when I am with you, when you are alone at the end of a lifetime, I am the one who is with you. And so you've experienced that, apparently.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually 5 times.
Oh, my word.
They declared that I'm a cat. I've determined I'm
a cat. I've got 4 more left. I'm spacing them out real good in this human linear time space for my avatar.
There you go.
Well done, Glenda. I love it.
But
So
yes, I have been very blessed to have been in that place of extreme love, extreme clarity. You just and experience the knowing everything without having to know it basically.
Yes.
And I'm also very blessed and grateful that I came back, because then I would have missed a lot of the human experience.
Oh, and you had work to do, usually.
Yes.
They do like you to work.
I know.
They like it when you come here. Like,
I've been working since I was 2 years old. They just keep pushing me back.
Yeah.
Pushing me back.
I know people who have felt that in a church.
Yes.
Staring at a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
If you raise your vibration, your aspiration is what takes you to the level where you can experience this. if you're troubled, if you are just worrying your bones and, miserable and you really get into it, there's not much anyone can do to lift you. You
Right.
have to try and simply let it go and have hope that things will get better. And that is enough to make it so. Yeah.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
simplicity of that. And isn't that what everyone is looking for? That simple. I think we get very caught up in spirituality sometimes and turn it into homework because we as humans are so very good at turning things into homework and processes and getting caught up in this 3D world in the matter changing matter and doing things manual labor style, right? That we all kind of forget to get into the simplicity of just being and what that actually means. And it's not, it's almost like having to get into an altered state in order to experience it, right? Or what we consider to be an altered state. You think shamans and things like that. But it really, when you talk about stillness or getting to that place where you can receive those things, I think we have so many conceptions as humans of how you get there, what it looks like, what that experience is supposed to be, based on having heard stories from others and not necessarily the bottom line really is to experience that unconditional love for yourself. Exactly. What does that mean for you in the way that you experience it?
Yeah. Yes. And you don't even have it's a heart experience. It's not a brain thing. It's a heart experience. And so it's open to anyone at any time. And I think that's, for me, is the great beauty of it, because in the world that we live in, it's so divided. There's so much, so many distractions. That if we could take time and be quiet, just be quiet, read a book, or just be quiet, take a walk, that is enough to put you in a calm state, and you will begin to feel things bubble up from inside. So it's not difficult. And actually, the masters in Maitreya are very anxious that as many people as possible get to know this experience. And that's why Maitreya says, I haven't come to form a religion. I've just come to teach you. And it's as simple as that. So we continue on. This is something that is a process that Share International has been carrying on. We don't push. We're very quiet about it. We go where we're invited to maybe give this information. Thank you for allowing me to come and tell you this.
Thank you for your willingness.
And so we have many books that were written not by Krem, but in a Q&A format in his travels where he lectured. He's gone twice a year through the US, through Europe, through Japan, to South America even. And so all of the questions that audience would ask him have been collected, and his answers have been collected and made into book form, so that if you have questions, probably your question is in there. And it's a research project that if anyone is ready for it, it's really lovely. And so Maitreya gave a series of 140 messages through Benjamin Krem, telepathic messages. And in that book, it's called Messages from Maitreya the Christ. And I'll explain a little bit about the word the Christ, because I think for some people it may be a little jarring. But in those messages, he gives fragments of his teachings. And when you read those messages, you get his energy. So there's a way to research and find the level of inspiration that is needed to access this energy in the beginning. After a while, it's automatic, but you have to make a start. So it's a wonderful little book, and you can find it at the Share International US site.
Mm-hmm.
So what else can I say? It's just, I have seen healings. We have on the website, there is a picture of a hand, Maitreya's hand, that appeared on the bathroom. You have a sliding glass door on a
Right.
bathroom, and this hand appeared there. That was Maitreya's hand. And so we've put it on the website. You can make copies of it. And if you put your hand over it and ask for what you need, if karma allows, it will be given. It will be done. You will be healed. Your friends will be healed. And many of us have just been amazed at the incredible healings. My husband, for example, has had several. He believes this, but he doesn't really accept it. So, but it doesn't matter. He's
Doesn't
had
matter.
many healings anyway. So what we've done is try to make all of this accessible to as many people who as are interested. There's a magazine called Share International Magazine that has one of Benjamin Krem's master's articles every month, and those have been relevant to happenings in the world, the attitudes of humanity, and on very high level, of course. And it's a very much of a grounding of this hierarchical effort. The masters are very, as I said before, very interested in contacting and working with humanity. We are in the age of Aquarius.
We are, and it's time for us to kind of kick it into gear with some of these things. So that's what gets me really kind of jazzed and excited. Like, hey, y'all, I want to talk to you. What's the easiest way for me to do that? I am a human, ADHD style, living in the wild world we have that is very noisy. Is there a way for us to learn to kind of to experience these things while experiencing the noise, I guess, is kind of where I sort of, that's a little bit where I'm at, or where I am sort of experiencing my human journey, that we call a lot of the things that we experience noise and busyness, and you look at technology or the things available to us now, and there is a little bit of a paradigm of that being too much and being a bad thing. It takes you away from stillness. It takes you away from your inner being, your inner knowingness, your capacity to experience these kinds of things, and to really get into that centered space. But in the idea of human evolution, to me, I kind of have that feeling of, well, isn't the next evolution our capacity to hold both of those spaces, to hold that experience that you have in silence of that unconditional love while going through your human experience as this avatar, this lifetime that you're being right now, right? To not absorb the noise in a negative way, but to take it all in for the experience and the journey that it is, while still exuding that unconditional love. And we have this kind of idea that they're separate things, right? But they're not. And I don't know, maybe you could speak to that a little bit if you have maybe had some of those conversations, or because again, it's fascinating to me that you guys have been around since 1985, and this is a rabbit hole I haven't gone down yet. Excuse me, what? How is this a thing that I haven't found yet? You guys are just quietly going around just...
Haleigh, I was born in 1961, okay? So
well, listen, I'm just saying, like, y'all have been doing this for a while, and I'm, obviously you're doing the don't push it kind of thing, but sorry, go ahead. I'm just fascinated by... Here we are in this next human evolution. This information's been available to us for a hot minute, y'all. They meant it when they said, when you ask, it is given. It's been available the whole time. Here it is.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated by that, because it really is, again, that idea of, man, it's so simple, but we as humans want to make it so difficult. It doesn't have to be.
Exactly. Well, and if you think of your process, your path, they say you have to become your path. And it all you have to do is take the first step on your path. If your
Mhm.
path is, if you aspire to increased awareness, to spiritual growth, you just make a start, and you'll find that your life will arrange itself so that you can do that. Now, I will say there are little tests along the way to be sure that you've gotten the messages, that you've learned what you have to learn, and so we don't want to tempt the universe by saying, "I'm ready for the next step." Don't ever say that, because it's a lot. So
Yes.
so so so
Yep.
you develop listening to an inner voice. And that inner voice is your own divinity. That's God within you. And you listen to that voice, and you will develop the hearing of it, and it will guide you, and it will inspire you to grow onward and onward. Now, that can occur in the middle of the noise of everyday living. But if you focus on a book, for example, say you wanted to know these messages that Maitreya gave out, you can read a message in the morning, and you can, at least in my experience, it will stay with you all day. This energy comes right off the book, and it will stay with you all day. And it doesn't matter if you're wrapped up in the whole world and what have you. When push comes to shove and something happens that requires you to make a decision or to respond in a positive way,
Mhm.
gradually you'll find that you can do it.
Mhm.
And it becomes a habit, and it becomes almost like a meditation that you keep going no matter what else you're doing. You have it on the back of the cook stove back here.
The
This
cooks, I love it. Keep that good energy on the back burner where it can just keep putting out the good vapors all day.
That's right. And again, it has to do with your heart, not your head. And the small voice is there, and develop listening to it is what I would recommend. Wouldn't you say,
Yes,
Glenda?
definitely. Just sit and take it in, and when you hear it, you'll know the difference if it's real or not. When you hear it, you'll feel peace. You'll
Yes.
feel like everything is just going to fall into place. And when you pay attention to it and you say, okay, I signed up for this, because that's how I call it. I signed up for this, and and they tell you go to the left hand side, and you normally go to the right. You go to the left hand side. It's like you feel relief, and you know that that's the right way to do it. That's that inner voice that you cannot explain to most people,
Mm-hmm.
and you sometimes even hear it in different voice tones and different, but it's always very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
The messages come through with
And you
no
feel
hesitation.
better.
Yes,
You
no
feel.
hesitation. Just sit there and you're like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, that that just fits perfectly for today.
Now, also, here's something that you might um, get something out of. Have you ever have you ever felt like you were watching yourself?
Let me put it this way. I often say that I feel like SpongeBob in the episode where Plankton is in his brain pulling all the levers. Like, who is running this human suit right now? I don't know what I'm doing. So I'll put it that way. I have felt a bit like, I don't know who's pulling the levers up here, you guys, but can we get it together? Like, we got to get in sync. Something's off.
Well, just the awareness that you feel that they're that how to put it, it's a question of identify with the one who's pulling the levers
Mhm.
and see
Mm-hmm.
what happens. That is part of the inner voice. The one who is the one who is watching you do these things. Have you ever, you do something and then you think, why did I do that? That creates a little separation between the real you and the you who does stuff. And that is the first experience that you can have of this inner divinity.
Mhm.
We call it the soul, they call it the self.
Mhm.
It's your higher self, and that is where the master within lives. So think about that and see what happens.
I love this. I am the one pulling the levers. Now let's just get a little bit more lucid with it. And, but again, this is where, as humans, we're so used to jumping up into the headspace instead of dropping back down into this frequency and, what's here. And again, you can't really describe it in words because the language is limited in that it makes you come here into your brain, right?
Right.
And that's
Mhm.
when we start even articulating narratives to yourself inside your mind, you've left that space.
That's right.
And we have this sort of conception, I think, as human. Again, the simplicity of things is to be in that space and allow yourself to act without having to articulate a justification and a reason up here for why did I do that, right? Well, I must have had some reason for it, whatever it was. Maybe I put my hairbrush in the refrigerator and I did it for a reason. It wasn't because I was absent-minded. There was something I was trying to tell myself in doing that, right?
Yeah, right.
As an example, Glenda knows that I just get a little silly sauce here, but that kind of a thing, right? Where it's a thing I say to my friends. I am the goblin that lives in my house and moves things around. And why am I missing socks? It's not the dryer. I've hid them from myself somehow. So I love this concept of again, it's that oneness that we're all trying to remember, right? That the separation element is an illusion we've given ourselves so that we can start this human experience and forget who we are, where we come from, the power we have. But the idea of the awakening and the awareness is to kind of realize I am on this human ride on purpose. Okay, well, maybe this can be kind of rad then. Maybe this can be kind of fun. Maybe this doesn't have to be the worry and the scary stuff. And maybe if I just let myself follow the flow and do those things and not know why I did them, I might be surprised at the very entertaining things the universe has to show me.
Exactly. Exactly. Maitreya has a mantra that he has put out, that we have put out, and it's called the Prayer for the New Age.
I love this. Tell me more.
And it goes something like this. You sit quietly as you can anyway, and you hold your attention here between the eyebrows. That's a chakra right there. It's not the third eye, it's the chakra. So you hold your attention there, and what that will do is it will organize the energy in the rest of your body, and it will put you on what we call the mental plane. Not the brain plane, the mind plane, right here. And so then you just sit with your attention here, and when your attention wanders, usually drops to the solar plexus, and you start thinking about, did I leave the door open? Did I lock my car? All of those things. Then you sound the mantra Om quietly in your head, and that will bring your attention back to the ajna. And so you're just sitting quietly, and if I can get this right, I say it in my head, but to say it here, I may make a mistake. I am the creator of the universe. I am the mother and the father of the universe. Everything comes from me. Everything will return to me. Mind, spirit, and body are my temples for the self to realize in them my supreme being and becoming. So let yourself just cogitate as you say it, and it will lift your attention, and you will begin to identify higher and higher levels of awareness. If you do it every day, I think you might find some interesting experiences in terms of the way you feel, the way you operate, the way you experience life. Now
where is that mantra for folks to go and find it? So if they want to try this out and do that mantra themselves and add that to their practice?
Yes, it should be on the U.S. website. And if it's not, I will make sure that it is. It's called the Prayer for the New Age.
The Prayer for the New Age.
Yes. And it was given by Maitreya as part of his mission is to teach us what they call self-realization, which is realizing who you really are. You ask yourself, who am I? Am I this body? Am I my fears? Because they come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Am I my affiliations? Because they come and go. No, you're not that. Am I my memories? As you get older, you don't even remember most of them.
Well, that makes it easier for you. Hey, I don't have to
That's right.
So true. So true.
I forgot. Awesome.
So true.
Don't worry about it. Forgot. Doesn't matter anymore.
That's right. So you ask yourself, who am I? And you keep asking and keep letting go of the things that you know you're not because they're gone. You've changed. And keep asking yourself, who am I? And you will come to the realization of who you really are. You are this piece of divinity, this spark of divinity wrapped in a material wrapper. And you are here to spiritualize matter. Now, that's a complicated thing, but it takes a little research to understand. Don't bother with that. Just realize that you are so much more than what you feel, what you think, even what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the process of self-realization. Your honesty of mind, sincerity of spirit, and detachment from all of not only the things that surround you, but to your reaction, your emotional reactions to things around you. And that is simple. It may not be easy, but it is simple. That is a direction that can be taken. And it's a natural one. It's the one that has been taken ever since man began. It's the same process that humanity on other planets uses.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. It doesn't change. It has always been this simple path. And really, if someone is aspiring to this path, the energy that is generated when your soul is knocking at your door saying, hello, it's time for us to get to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for us to get back together again. Can we get the band back together, Blues Brothers? We're on a mission from God. Jake, Elwood, where's the car? We got to roll, yo. We got to get the band back together.
And it will generate so much good energy in you that your life will change, and you'll be amazed, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be amazed at what you can do with all of this energy. And again, it's all positive energy. We know from physics and from psychiatry now that the brain is a computer. That's all. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain is a computer, and it is the instrument that the mind and the self use to experience the data that goes on and to live the life that we live. So you identify higher and higher you realize that you are the one pulling the levers.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the energy of all of it. I get a little bit lost in again, it's so simple, but but we're here to talk for a whole full hour, humanity kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, we do this to ourselves, humanity, where we're like, okay, but I have a whole lifetime to fill up. What am I going to, like, if it's that easy, what am I going to, and then we overthink and overcomplicate and spin ourselves off into these silly little places. But that's part of the experience.
That's right. That's right. I can talk about transmission meditation, which is the meditation that the masters have given for humanity. And there are transmission meditation groups all over the world. They are relatively small. We're not talking about stadiums filled with people.
Right.
We're talking about, usually 3, 4, 5 people at a time. There's never a charge. It's totally voluntary. It's called transmission meditation, and the discussion of it is in a book called Transmission, a New Age Meditation. Now, when someone has started on the path and the self is pouring this energy into you, it's very important that you take up an altruistic service.
Mm-hmm.
The energy is meant to be used for good in the world, altruistic service. Now, this meditation is a service to the world because the masters send the energies of Aquarius, the energies of love, the energies that stimulate brotherhood through the groups of people who are sitting for transmission meditation. The energy comes through them, through their chakra system. The chakras are balanced, and the energy is sent out through this chakra, the Ajna center, out into the world, either to help in situations where people need inspiration to cooperate and work together, make peace, or to top up the general pool of these beautiful energies so that anyone can access them if they would just become aware of it. So these groups are in most major cities, and they are very simple. Again, you hold your attention at the ajna, the energy comes through. As my mother used to say, she said it's like a vacation to have these energies pouring through you. It's a lovely experience, and we've had a group here in Dallas since about 1985. And so that's something that can be researched. Somebody is interested, they can check that out.
That'd be great. That would be great.
I love it. I can't wait to have you back for more of these and read some more of the mantras or do the meditations together, because I do think this is great and so appreciative of the level of patience that there is, because again, ADHD in our world isn't built around patience, and I'm a Sagittarius fire sign. That's certainly not my wheelhouse either. But the patience that there is in holding that space and not being intrusive, in being here and being that, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears kind of thing, right? But there is the you can lead a horse to water element, and you can't force it. So as much as there is, that, we stand off of the free will thing and we don't want to intrude, and we, not being able to adjust free will, I think there is still something to be said for the patience that it takes for the masters that are awaiting humanity's readiness, right? Just, hey, send some appreciation, right? That's all we're trying to do.
Yes.
Like, hey, thanks y'all for being patient with us, because we do recognize how tough that is, right?
Good.
It can't be easy to see how much potential we have and have us not recognize it. I'm sure that it's a little bit, from our human perspective, we might think of, a parent looking at a kid and thinking, oh, but there's so much more you could do, or an older sibling looking at a younger sibling and being, like, oh, but you've got so much potential, but I can't tell you that, and I can't give you direction. I have to let you figure that out on your own, kind of thing. And so much appreciation to them for all of the patience they have shown for all of humanity.
Yes, it's tough duty, I think.
Yes,
It is. It's very true. And we appreciate that. Thank
and
you very
Haleigh
much.
has no patience.
None.
None.
Zero. I am in the negative on the patience front. So if I have mad respect for the masters who can sit there nicely, because I don't have that. So good on y'all.
I think they can work with you.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. Like, hey, you know
All
what?
right.
We could come in meet in the middle and balance out. I'm way on this, again, fire sign side. Y'all are on the super crazy patience side. Let's meet in the middle and make some magic. I love this.
Well, you articulate very well, and I
Yes.
think that's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. It's that, again, that's one of the gifts, right? Let the channel open and I'll let them speak through me. And sometimes my mouth keeps going and I can't stop it, but Glenda is super patient over there herself. Thank you, Glenda, for being very patient with me all the time. And thank you, Betsy, for this. I have loved this energy so much. This has been so great. Again, rabbit hole that I am happy to continue to go down, this Share International and Maitreya the Happy One. I'm loving it.
Check it out.
Well, I would like to say that anyone, we saw a couple of questions in the chat, and we're sorry, but it was so intriguing that we just wanted to get the information out. If you still have that question, you could write directly. You could go to the website, which is on the screen. It will also be in the description, and you can search, research, ask the questions there. And like we all know, once you're ready, everything will fall into place and you will get the answers you are looking for. Now, as always, we want to say thank you. We want to say have a great, great week. And
Betsy, thanks for bringing such good
Yes.
energy and such a wonderful message around the holiday season that we all think is so representative of this big loving energy, right? Like, hey, thanks for bringing us back to the true meaning of Christmas, right?
Exactly.
Drink deeply.
Yes, yes. And for everyone that knows me, I found out Betsy's also a Jersey girl. So sorry, not sorry. So
little bit of bias
little bias here.
Favoritism to Betsy for being a Jersey girl. I get it. I'm for it. Like,
I have a
no judgments, no upset here.
I have a black sweater that has sequins that says Jersey girl.
Yes.
I love it. The Jersey girls be hanging out in the Dragons Den.
I have one
over
almost
here.
like that too.
Perfect. Jersey girl queens. I love it.
We love everyone. We send much love, much happiness, health, peace, and enjoy yourselves through these holidays. It isn't about the rush. It really is not, people. It's about that inner peace that you can find and that experience of like a moment of aha, because you will find it. You will receive it if you look for it, if you're willing to really look for it. And as always, we will have a show on Christmas, people.
Yes, we will. Join us on Christmas next week, Wednesday. We're going to have a great time.
Yes. All right. Thank you, Betsy. Hold on a second. Love you all.
Love you.